What's going on? Welcome to mikeybalzz Fishing, guys. I hope you guys are all fishing, and I hope the weather's still warm up by you and you are enjoying the lake. I'm actually still in Florida, and here's what I wanted to do today. So we've been fishing a lot of brush piles, and I've kind of went through the process a little bit with you guys, and we've caught some freaking mondos. Like, if you guys want to catch mondos, come on down to Sebring. Like, Sebring has mondos. But in any case, the one thing I think that I've lacked, because I always try to analyze what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, and go back and make it better. One thing that I've lacked is I think I haven't really explained or really walked through very specifically and detail oriented wise how to look at a brush pile, what it looks like, what's a good one, like just factors like that. What lures, what baits should you be throwing, you know, what's your go-tos, how can you catch a fish on any brush pile in the United States, that kind of stuff. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go through and we're gonna throw some lures. We're going to kind of scan some brush piles. I'm gonna show you and go through kind of a step-by-step analysis of these brush piles. And FYI, if you're watching this video and you don't enjoy like super detail oriented in-depth fishing stuff, hit the dislike button and leave, like, because you're not gonna like this video. I'll tell you now, I won't waste your time. But if you do enjoy super in-depth stuff, I try to keep it on the low, but I'm good at this. Like, I've done this a lot. I understand how it works. I understand what's going on, when it works, why it works. Like, there's a lot of different factors, and it just suits me. You know, there's some styles of fishing, I'm sure you guys have that same experience, where like you're like, I like doing this, you know, like I feel it. Like, it's not just like you know what's going on, it's like you have like that sixth sense of why it's happening, why it's going on, and you can go and duplicate it all over the lake. Awesomest feeling ever. But if you guys enjoy in-depth fishing videos, and if you don't, make sure to hit that dislike. But if you enjoy them, hit that like button and subscribe button. We're gonna go look at some of these. All right, homies. I got a couple brush piles right here. Let's go ahead and analyze them. You don't need double graphs. You really don't even, for brush pile fishing, you don't even need like a super great graph. You just need side scan and a decent graph. Like, it pretty much, you can find them if you're willing to put the work in. Here we go. So it's already coming up next to it. So you can see there is a ton of bait. We just drove over the pile. There's so much bait on this pile. You can kind of see the tree there, but on the 2D you really can't. You can see all the bait on the side scan. This, oh dude, look at that. Those are two gigundas right there. See them on the 2D? So that is what a perfect pile looks like. Literally, like, that is absolute perfection, like capture. Let me turn this thing off real quick. So that has a bunch of bait on it. There's obviously like a pretty thick kind of brush pile down there. And really what you're looking for with a brush pile is an isolated piece of cover, something, you know, that's kind of lonely, a little offshore. It can be 40 yards off the bank. It can be like we're like a quarter mile off the bank. It really doesn't matter how far off the bank it is, just so it's isolated. We always talk about like isolated grass always holds big fish. The same applies to these brush piles. You want an isolated target. And the big key factor for me when deciding, hey, I want to fish this, or hey, I don't want to fish this, is bait. In this case, you saw a bunch of brim on there. There's probably some shad mixed in and some minnows as well. That's what the brim are eating. But really, if you see fluff, like, you know, marshmallow man kind of stuff, if you see fluff all around that pile, that's a thumbs up. Like, go get them, tiger, have at it. If you don't see that much there, but you see a few fish, don't spend a bunch of time on it, but definitely fish it. Like, if you see 4 dots, 3 dots, you're not really fishing for schools when it comes to these brush piles. You're fishing for a couple fish. They're usually pretty isolated. Now, in that brim, with all that bait right there, there might be 5, 6, 10 fish, 12 fish. You know, like, there's so much bait, there's enough to keep the fish there. But oftentimes, this is a very isolated target thing, so you're gonna get 2 or 3 bites off of something. There aren't gonna be a bunch of fish, but you're looking for that bait. That bait is the key signature for an active brush pile. That's a big. Right under the boat. He must have been following it all the way. Uh-oh, here she comes. Stay out of that troll water. stay out of that trolling motor. Dude. Jeez Louise. I like swimbait fishing. I like swimbait fishing around brush piles because nobody throws a swimbait on brush piles. Golly, that's a big old mama jama. Oh, she got it too, boy. Come here. Come here. If that doesn't make your day, there's something wrong with you. So who says you can't fish open hook lures around brush piles? I say that's not a rule, boss. Dude, look at how her teeth or her cartilage still got that. Go ahead, half ounce. Here's kind of the cool part. So there's a bunch of suspended fish. They're actually off the graph now. You can see the brush piles right there. We're lined up. But if you see, I marked bream right there. Breams. So there's like a line or a pod of brim that are like off these brush piles. And I'm like, hey, dude, I can run my swimbait next to the piles through that stuff. And this is what happened. Let me turn this well off. And I want to get her released because I don't like keep them in the well. Dude, that right there is 7.5, 8 pound mama jama. Mama jama. Big. So let's get her released really quick. God, you're pretty and you're so big. Like your shoulder. See you later, homie. Be creative. You gotta do the basics when it comes to brush piles. But be creative. That was creative. I just caught a biggin. Golly. I felt him like behind it. Like, oh man, I really didn't get a good hook set. That's crazy. I sensed the fish behind the swim bait. You guys ever have that happen? Let me throw you some more tips on this brush pile stuff. So ideally, spot lock, like a Lowrance Ghost, if you got an Ultrex, something like that, is perfect. And you want to have your 0.1 on. Let me show you why. You see down there, you see that blue line right there that's pointing straight forward? So I have my 0.1 calibrated. I can literally point the boat at these piles and throw it to them. If you are super rich, or your buddy has a hookup, or you just want to spend a bunch of money, you can get like the live scope, or I forget what the one is called for, it's live something for Lowrance. Basically, it's a transducer that shoots forward. I was out on the boat with JT and he had it, and it was pretty cool. Like literally, dude, like you can kind of move the trolling motor back and forth and see exactly where that pile is. So those are kind of like fancy things. Okay, so Mikey was in like a beat up Tracker 175 that had holes in the deck. So Mikey had none of those things. Mikey had one of these. If you don't have any of those things, have a buoy. It does just as good. Oh, as I throw stuff around. But let me tell you a trick though. Get these kind of buoys first. I don't know what they're called, like H buoys or something that look like an H. Buy yourself a big old catfish, or if you're near saltwater, like saltwater weight. This is 7 ounces, I believe. I think that's like the perfect number. Tie that joker on. When it's blown out here like 15, 20, your buoy is going to flop in the water and it's not going to stay next to where it's supposed to be. That's the other trick. Have down scan or something on your trolling motor. Have at least a transducer in the front and put this thing next to the buoy. A lot of guys drop them into the brush pile. Like, don't. Like, not the point. Here's the other cool thing. If you use a buoy, drop this on one side of the brush pile, and especially if you're seeing fish on the sides of the brush pile, drop it on the edge of the pile so that you can pick up, say, a swim bait, a crankbait, a spoon, just something with an open hook, and you can actually throw it to that other side of the buoy and catch those fish with an open hook bait. It opens up, or even like a Nico rig, like something crazy, you know, like an open hook style lure you can put next to that brush pile, because you know you're not going to hang up, but you can present those fish with other types of baits, because oftentimes they see a lot of the same stuff. So showing them something different is key, but brush piles really limit what you can throw in there. Now I'm going to tell you another key, and this one is sneaky, like pretty sneaky. So we're on like a medium-sized lake here in the Sebring area, and there's a bunch of brush piles on it, and they're not put out here by FWC. They're put out here by anglers, guys, old men, whoever, crappie fishermen, whatever, dude, speck fishermen. So they drop a bunch of piles out here, you know, and here's the deal. On these lakes, and you can even do it on a big lake in sections, So say you got Joe Schmo who drops a brush pile. Well, Joe Schmo likes to fish in 15 to 18 feet of water, and that's where he catches all his bass. So Joe Schmo is going to go and take his Christmas tree. He's going to take all the tree cuttings that he has from his yard, and he's going to drop them in 15 to 18 feet of water. And oftentimes Joe Schmo, like all of us, is going to get kind of lazy, and he'll have 2 trees on his boat, and he'll be like, dude, I was going to drop this on that point over there that's underwater, but you know what? I'm sitting over this point right here. I'm gonna drop both these trees right here. This right here is a good example. So you can see we're on an underwater point. There are like 6 or 7 brush piles down there, dude, all kind of congregated right around. So you can't tell me that each individual person said, I'm gonna, donate to the brush pile fund, and they all drop their own tree. What's the implication? The overall implication of this is the following. You'll find on different bodies of water, especially smaller lakes if you fish them, if you're fishing in Central Florida, North Central Florida, even smaller lakes like sections of larger lakes in like Alabama, anywhere really. Guys have a style to dropping brush piles or dropping offshore structure, whether that's sinking a boat, sinking a little reef thing, whatever. And what you'll do is you'll actually target those areas. So if you're on a lake and you found like 10 brush piles in like 15 feet of water, dude, start looking at 15. That might not be the ideal depth for the fish, but Joe Schmo is dropping brush piles in 15 feet of water, and he dropped a whole bunch of them. So it's a sneaky way that you can really because the trick is here, let me just frame it up. There's a lot of water out here. When you start idling offshore, it takes forever, dude. Even with like double graph side scan, dude, it is a process that takes hours. The more that you can do to make that process efficient and X out crap water, like you're gonna come back to the lake and fish, especially if you catch fish. You can get more detail oriented then, but if it's your first time on the lake and you're trying to do some brush pile fishing, use every tool and advantage that you can. So be thinking about that. If somebody dropped this, this, and this in this section of water, there's probably gonna be more of that, especially around in here. So kind of use your brain. This kind of fishing is brain fishing. Like you can think about how you fish more when you're doing this than you can whenever you're fishing the bank or the spawn, because this stuff, it's a mind game, dude. That's where it all is. All right, so we got some brush here. You can see there's 2 big fish right there. You can see them even clearer on this screen. There's another big fish right there. You can kind of see them on the 2D. There's some more big ones. You notice how they're all on top too? They're kind of above the bait. I'm sure there's some mixed in. It's so absolutely thick. You can see it on the side scan. It's tough to tell. There's a couple fish on the outside of it. But see those bigs? They're all on the top of it. And those are things that you can get from your electronics too. You can be like, where are these fish located? How do I want to fish for them? I have my arsenal of baits. If you're seeing a bunch of fish high, either like fish low and get your bait high, or fish a swim bait, fish something that you can get to those fish, because you want to be in their face. You want to either be in their face, right in front of them, or knocking on that stuff. And those are kind of the keys to fishing these piles. Oh dear, what have I done? Oh gosh. Oh gosh. That's a giant on a drop shot, guys. This is like a 7-8 pounder. He's gonna go straight down in the brush. Oh God. Oh, if I land this fish. Oh, don't go in the brush. Don't go in the brush. We're going to try to escort this fish out of the brush. Oh, you're gonna come straight back up. Okay, okay. I can do nothing. That's the only problem with a drop shot, is you're at the whim of the bass fish. Oh, a little skirt. Hope I tied my knots tight. Hope I tied my knots tight. I guess it does go to show you though that like you don't gotta fish giant things to catch giant bass. Oh dear. Oh dear, boys. Come here, come here, come here, come on. God, maybe I could hook everything in the world with my net. Yeah, I just caught an 8 pounder on 8 pound test on a dropter shotter. Oh dear. So, and she came right up. Wow. How about that, boys? Yeah, brush pile fishing, you want to try it? You should try it. If you want to have a heart attack, try catching a like a 7+ pounder on a little tiny rebar hook on 8-pound fluorocarbon on a medium action spinning rod. Yeah. I love this structure fishing. I'm not saying it's always going to be giants, but these isolated things tend to hold giants or hold the bigger fish that you'll find in the lake. And there's giants around here, dude, fishing around in Sebring and that. But like, it's fun. Like, and you can do it anywhere. And the structure doesn't always have to be brush. It can be boats. It can be gravel piles. It can be, dude, I found an old airboat like sunk. Like, there's crazy old docks. People accidentally sink their docks and stuff, old floats and stuff, any kind of isolated offshore structure. But like I said before, I want to get this fish released because she is big and I want her to live. We don't need any, whoa buddy, whoa. You don't need any monster hold because that is a mikeybalzz monster, bro. Bigsonly.com. I was thinking about buying that domain. Somebody probably owns it, but dude, all right, let's get you back in the water on. Such a good fish. Poor Bog is missing out on all the action, dude. Probably super jealous. Isolated structures though, brush piles, they're fun. It's target fishing, it's video game fishing. It's something where you can target a bunch of individual things, stack up like 25, 30, 40 waypoints, run them all, cycle through, run back through them. It's a great way to fish tournament too, especially if you got like a little Wednesday nighter or something like that. You can really stack up the pounds, dude. But I hope you guys enjoyed this breakdown. If you guys got any questions, drop them down in the comments box, and definitely leave me any comments if you have any insights as well. If you guys fish a lot of brush piles, these brush piles look a little different than what you'll find in, say, Alabama, Georgia. They're definitely smaller, but the same principles apply and the same like way to use your graph and thinking about how they're placed, where they're placed. It's all the same general concepts. You just kind of got to mold it for wherever you're fishing. Make sure to hit like and subscribe. Your grassroots support grows this channel, and that makes a difference. Like, that's freaking cool, because guess what, we're the pros, dude. We're the ones spending the time on the water. Like, we're the ones that matter. So make sure you remember that next time you're on the water. I'm gonna go fish a little bit more, but we are gonna wrap up this video. Thank you guys for watching. I'm out.